Good morning and welcome to Kramer's Corner with Daily Technical Update. It is Tuesday the 10th of February. This video is for educational purpose only. There's no advice or recommendation whatsoever intended. So let's start with Nvidia today, up 2.5% yesterday. It actually spiked a little bit higher, but this I also checked. This is a little bit of a false spike. It actually only spiked up to 193.63. It's a false spike, as we can see. If we check the 1 minute chart or the tick chart, it was one bad reading or one bad price stamp from the exchange. Maybe it will be removed later on. But anyway, it was up there testing the previous resistance there. That is key to spike just above the cloud there. However, still negative sentiment on the RSI. It needs to close above 193.63 and preferably 196. Then we'll have confirmed the bullish trend, and RSI needs to close above 60 threshold. A slightly bullish trend here on the weekly, but still a little bit fragile. I think it will get up there, but let's see about that. And then just very quickly on Oracle, that has been sold off for the better part of the 4, 5, 6 months. Collapsing from 325, 345 all the way down to around 136, and last week it bounced from the 200 weekly moving average and bounced a little bit, and we can see here also it bounced actually almost 10% yesterday. But again, it is not in a bullish trend by any means. It's just a bounce and probably some profit taking from short sellers. So still be cautious out there if you're trading Oracle. The overall index, Nasdaq 100, keeps bouncing after this sell-off there late last week. And closed yesterday above the cloud, above 100 moving average. Still negative sentiment though, so let's see here the next few days. I think it will slowly trade higher, also given that what we are looking at the other indices in a minute. And I think we could see it bouncing further a little bit. Pre-market, basically unchanged here around the 100 moving average. Here is the Nasdaq future. So it is a little bit of a struggle. The semiconductors, despite the fact that Nvidia bounced strongly, is still a little bit under pressure. Some of the other tech companies, also like Amazon, also really under pressure at the moment. The S&P 500 is doing much better. It bounced from the 100 moving average and key support here at 6,789. And getting very close to its previous all-time highs here, just above 77,000. And I think actually it will push higher here in the coming days and weeks. But again, let's see. We're still in the earnings season. Some earnings could move the market a little bit either way. And here we can see the S&P 500 future. And currently trading around the 786 retracement there, 6,980, pausing a little bit. So maybe a little bit of a setback, and then I think we will see a next move higher. However, if it suddenly starts falling back, and especially closing below the cloud area here at 6,750, then we have a completely different situation. Let's have a look at the Dow Jones Index. It actually closed again higher yesterday, despite the fact it was just a tad up, but it closed a little bit higher. So a new all-time high there on Dow Jones. So Dow Jones in a quite a strong position and has potential to push higher towards 51,000, 50,800 in this area here. We can see it's broken this resistance line there, and pre-market basically just unchanged, but there is potential higher to 51,000 here. Positive sentiment on the RSI, so kind of the old school. It's banks, it's pharma, and it is oil service, oil industry that has primarily lifted it here that the past week or late last week, and also keeping afloat up here. The Russell 2000 also bounced and could push higher, and if it takes out the peak there at 271.60, well, then there is potential higher to 280 level. In Asia session, we saw Hang Seng spike to the 61.8 retracement there, 27,383. I think it will continue high the next few days, and if it takes out that spike up there today, well, then I think we'll see a push above 28, back above 28,000. Positive sentiment is supporting the bullish outlook. Also, Nikkei doing good again today, slightly up, not a new all-time highs, but it's still in a bullish trend. RSI above the falling trend line, indicating likely higher levels. And will we see 60,000 being tested? That is not unlikely to see that. So the Nikkei is doing really, really well at the moment, and could very likely continue higher. We have the EuroStoxx also pushed higher, closed higher yesterday. It wasn't a new all-time high, but it was a higher close. So we are in a bullish trend here, and we are also with positive sentiment indicating likely higher levels, and I could see it pushing towards 61.40 and possibly 6,200 here going into the end of February, early March. So bullish trend supported by all indicators. Pre-market basically unchanged, a little tad higher, and I think will continue higher here. DAX also testing here yesterday, closed just around just a few euros below 25,020, actually at 25,016. I need a close above, but I think I will get it. Maybe not today, maybe tomorrow. We'll see about it. Couldn't be today. I wouldn't be so surprised. And if RSI closes back above 60, also expect a new all-time high on DAX towards 26,000. Pre-market basically unchanged, just trading around the 25,000 level there. On the FX market and euro dollar has bounced 50% of this as a correction here, and I think it will continue higher given the fact that we have positive sentiment on the RSI. We saw RSI closing back about 60 threshold yesterday, and I think it will take out the peak here from yesterday and push higher towards 1960, 120 level. So the bullish trend seems to be resuming there. Sterling dollar also bounced 50%. I think it will also push higher. We can see positive sentiment, no divergence on the RSI. There's some resistance here at 137.25 at the 61.8 retracement. I think it would be tested, could be tested today, and I think we will also see sterling dollar pushing higher. I'm quite bullish on it. All moving averages are pushing higher. Also, we have 55 that broke above the 200 and they were both rising. So we have a bit of a gold cross there on the medium term, indicating likely higher levels. Euro sterling spiked to 50% of the this downtrend here yesterday. It doesn't look like it, but actually this is actually what it did. So and then sat back, trying again today. Really around the 55 moving average. The RSI didn't get back above 60 threshold. It was possibly above, but then it got knocked down and then it's still below. So let's see, will it slide back below the cloud and back below this falling trend line there? Then it could resume downtrend. However, we have the 200 moving average coming up there and kind of locking it in, and we have the 100 here. So still in this range bound area here. With some spikes out of it could still be seen. Dollar yen, as we talked about yesterday, it was likely to be rejected and being knocked back down here after reaching the 786 retracement here at 157.70, and that seems to be the scenario playing out. So I remove this is because it's a little bit of a noise now, and if it takes out the peak from yesterday, well, then we will see it up here on the previous peaks. But for now, we're sitting back. RSI got rejected there at the 60 threshold, which means it's still in a negative sentiment, and we could see dollar yen sliding back here in the coming days. If it moves back below the cloud, well, not unlikely down to 61.8 retracement there at 154.25 and back below the cloud, and then downtrend could resume. So quite volatile there, so keep an eye on. We can also see 55 moving average kind of putting a lid on it here now, and we are below that, but the 100 cloud up, so we could be locked in here in this area here for a little while, but be careful. It could also, I mean, it's really hard, not hard to read, but there are so many ifs and buts, but the underlying sentiment is negative. Euro yen trading around the 786 retracement here at 185.77. And that's why we are pausing a little bit, as I've said so many times. We have indication of exhaustion, uptrend exhaustion, with the RSI values, the strength indicator value declining. If it takes out the peak from yesterday at 186.25, well, then I think we'll see a new high towards 188 and higher. But for now, I think we could see it setting back quite a bit again. And if you're trading really short term, you can do this like I do. So you have some guidelines where it could slide back to. See 61.8 retracement there is just around where the 55 moving average coming up. So we could slide back to that level. Aussie yen, again higher yesterday to 161.8 projection, just below 111 of this little correction here. And also quite stretched, as we can see, strength indicator declining, market moved higher. And I think we could see it pushing higher. If it takes out the peak from yesterday, then I think we'll see a push above 111, possibly up to 112, but a little bit stressed. It needs to take out the lows there from the 6th of February at 108. Then it could turn around and record a larger correction. Sterling yen, basically being range bound a little bit here for the past week or so. Spiked a little bit higher there. 215 is the level it needs to take out for a push higher towards 216, 217. These levels up here around 216.85 could be seen. If it takes out the lows there from a few days ago, the 6th of February at 211.55, then we could see it sliding back to test the 210 area. But there's some strong support down here also with the 55 moving average coming up. However, be cautious. There is some warning signs with the RSI declining, market move higher. But if it takes out 215, then the RSI will be back above 60 threshold and above the falling trend line. That could further indicate further upside potential. Aussie dollar testing both yesterday and here overnight. The previous peak there just around 71. If it takes out 71, it didn't touch it. It was very close to just a few pips from it. If it takes it out, then I think we'll see it up to 72, 72 and a half, possibly in these levels here. And as we can see here, as indicated by the projection of the Fibonacci is there. A little bit of divergence building up because we actually have higher levels here, higher closing prices, and we have declining RSI. So a little bit of warning sign. Can it make it up there or not? I think it will eventually. Give it a few days, but now we're setting back a little bit, so be cautious for that, but keep an eye on it. Dollar Canada, and let's just resize it down a bit and zoom in. We had a sell-off here in Dollar Canada yesterday, pausing a little bit here around 135.5. I think we will see it testing the 786 retracement there fairly soon. And as we can see here on the RSI, the strength indicator, negative sentiment, there's no divergence. We are back below 40 threshold. That is actually indicating even lower levels on Dollar Canada, and we could see a push down to 134 here, maybe in a couple of weeks' time. But a little bit of pausing, maybe a little bit of profit taking for the sellers, and then a bounce, and then next move lower. You can see all moving averages declining, meaning underlying trend is also bearish, and lower lows, lower highs, and possibly new lower lows. So that is what is indicating at the moment, and it needs to get up here to at least 137 and a quarter just to put into neutral. That wouldn't establish a bullish trend, but let's see here the next few days. The Euro Swiss currently this morning actually opened a tad lower below this low here from January, bouncing a little bit. I still think we'll see lower Euro Swiss levels, given the fact that we have the 55, the 100, and also 200 declining there, and the 21 also coming down there. Negative sentiment. I think we'll see lower levels here in the coming days and weeks, and we can add this Fibonacci to it, say, well, maybe down to around 90.64.5-ish, the 161.8 projection of this little correction there. Dollar Swiss also sold off yesterday, and just around 76.50 where it's trading. A little bit of bounce there, but I think we will also see that one low. You see all moving averages lower, and the negative sentiment, no divergence, indicating likely lower levels on dollar Swiss in the coming days and weeks. Of course, there will be some counter trends, but the overall picture is bearish. Basically the same picture with the dollar index, although it hasn't sold off that much, but a sell off there yesterday, just above the 50%, but I think it will continue. If RSI gets back below 40 threshold, it will further confirm the bearish outlook, and I think that's the way we are going to play. We can see all moving average declining, and below the clouds, and negative sentiment already. So I would expect to push lower towards 96.32 within a day or two, but on the medium term, in a couple of weeks time, then I think we were down here in this region around the 94 area. Moving on to gold, has been fairly quiet relatively over the past 24 hours, but continue to crawl slowly higher, and I think we will see it reaching the 61.8 retracement there, 5,138 could be in a few days, especially if RSI crawls back above 60 threshold. Then I think we will see that scenario playing out. And if we are looking at the let's have a look at the intraday chart, because that's always where you see things are building up. You can see here, let's remove this for now. You can see the 55 has broken above the 100 1 hour. This is a 1 hour chart moving average. We are above the cloud on the 1 hour. The only thing that keeping it down for the moment is the 200 moving average coming down here, dragging it low a little bit. But if we also do a horizontal line there, you can see that is the level 5,091. If it takes out that, well, then expect a push higher towards 5,138, possibly higher here in the coming days and weeks. Let's have a look at silver. How does it behave? It's a little bit, it's lacking a little bit. Currently trading around the 61.8 retracement there of this sell-off there. If it takes out the peak there from overnight, which can be seen here on the weekly, sorry, on the 1 hour chart, of course. I'm just used to have weekly chart over here. If it takes out the peak from today, well, then expect a push up to 86 plus, and these levels here around 92, and then suddenly we are back up here in this region. We could see that as scenario playing out. The only thing keeping it down very, very short term is the 200 hourly moving average coming down there, putting a lid on, but you can see 55 coming up there. So it will be a battle here for the next few days in this region here. It needs to turn around the 200 1 hour moving average to turn around. So it will take a little bit of time for it to crawl on. We can see some setbacks, but the overall picture is, I think we will see it crawling higher towards 92. If it takes out 92.20, 92.25, then we are back towards 100. Platinum struggling also a little bit, following silver more than it's actually following gold. I think we'll see it crawling higher towards 22.25 here, the 786 retracement, starting to do that. If it takes out the peak there from yesterday at 21.15, sorry, then I think we'll see it up here in this region around 22.25. But really to reestablish bullish trend, 2,335 is needed to be taken out. Copper, more or less the same picture really. Bounced the 38.2 of this sell-off there, and needs to take out the peak here from yesterday, and then we have resistance around 611.5. If it takes out that, well, then we are back in a bullish trend, but could be a little bit under pressure here. Still could slide back a little bit towards 580. Moving on to the oil market. Oil market is still in a bullish trend here, and I still believe we will get up here towards above the resistance here at 66.5. It will be a little bit of a struggle, but positive sentiment on the RSI, no divergence, indicating likely higher levels could be seen towards $70. Even despite the fact that if it breaks below the rising trend line, it's not the strongest one. So I think we will see it up there. Brent crude oil, more or less same picture really. If it takes out the previous peaks here in this area, then we are looking at 75 or 77 level. The European nat gas kind of range bound here between 31 and 36. If it takes out the peak there at 36. Well, it's actually 36, as you can see. Then I think we'll see uptrend resuming towards 40 euros and possibly higher. Some strong support here down at 31. The US nat gas sliding still slowly lower. It seems like the worst is over in the States. And as we talked about the past week or so, I think we could see it down to $3. We're very close to it anyway, and possibly also dipping below the 786 retracement here at 297. On the Treasury yields, still trading around the 420, keeping itself above the rising trend line. I still believe we'll see higher yields eventually, but it's just pausing a little bit. 55 moving average coming up there, 100 coming up. So we are still in a wait and see position, very short term. You can also see here on the weekly it's being held down by the 55 moving average and the 100 moving average. So still 430 key resistance. Moving on to the European yields, they haven't moved much, a little bit lower here this morning, testing a 55 moving average, could slide lower to 277, key support area. The UK 10 sliding lower again after failing to stay above 457, which they shouldn't be too unhappy about. So, and we could slide back further. So what we can do, and I will disregard this there. I think it's a wrong reading or a future rollout or something that they haven't cleaned up. We are set back 38.2, and I think we could get down to 61.8 retracement. We had 443. The Japanese 10 basically now range bound, been range bound here for quite some time. Which is not it's not an unheard scenario that it do that after a very strong bullish trend. So it's a bit in a deadlock here around 215 and 230 plus. It needs to take out the peak there from yesterday, then we'll see it revisiting at 238 and support down here at 213 to be observed. On the crypto and Bitcoin, still a little bit under pressure. I tried to bounce, but still in a bearish trend. I think still we could see it crawling higher, but I don't expect a bullish trend anytime soon. If it takes out the lows from here, from a few days ago, last week, well, then suddenly we are in for a rough ride towards the 52,000 level. Ethereum, more or less the same picture really. Key support there at 1740, 1370 support down there. That's all for today. Have a nice day and talk to you again later.